What's up, YouTube, and welcome to your fifth tutorial on Unity. And in this tutorial, I'm going to be demonstrating all of Unity's physics abilities. Well, basically, what I'm going to be doing is going over almost every component in this list. All right. So let's begin. First of all, let's make like a little test area. All right. So let's begin by making a cube. Usual stuff. Should have done this before, right? Let me just pause and set up my environment. Alright, so I got my little test environment set up, and basically what I have here is a point light, a basic cube, basic floor, let's even call this floor. Flute, floor, right? And just a basic box collider on that. Alright, so now let's begin. First of all, with the rigid body, because character controller I need kind of scripting to demonstrate it. So I'll just begin the rigid body. So let me just create a new cube. And basically, a rigid body is the component that you attach to something to have it work with the Unity's physics engine, which is Physics X by NVIDIA. And so yeah, let me show you what happens when you just put it on a basic cube, right? And put it up. There, it will just fall, It will act like a regular crate or cube or whatever you would like to put it as. See if you even rotate it. Let me just lift it up and rotate it. Never mind. Alright, so you get it. And the thing about the rigid body is why it's so flexible is that it kinda clones the physics according to the collider. So wait, not a box. So if I make a sphere, then it has a round collider, then the rigid body will act according to the collider. So let me show you this. Physics, rigid body. Alright, so now you see it's falling, but now you can also see if I switch it to local rotation, you can see that it's also like kind of rotating. Well, not right now, but anyway, it kind of takes the shape, it kind of takes the physical properties of the shape it's attached to. So now that we got that clear, we're gonna move on to the next component, which is really cool. I'm not gonna go over all the colliders because what they basically do is just have it like not stop collision and give triggers. So I may actually demonstrate a short feature. Cube. Let me just see. Alright, so now you get this box collider on here, and now everything. All these properties. They're just for positioning the collider. If you want to have some offset, maybe, or some offset on the size, then that's what these things does. I just set them to 0, 0, and 1, 1, 1. But there's this little checkbox thing here, which is called is trigger. And if you check it, then the cube won't block any collisions, but it will send a message when something has collided with it. So it can be used as a trigger collision, which means it doesn't block, but it does tell you when it's collided. So that's what the is trigger does. I will get in depth how to use it when I get into the scripting area of Unity. And for now, let's just leave colliders alone. Oh, and one last thing. You have this last component here on the collider. It's called mesh collider, and basically that means if you import a model, then it will only do the collision around your custom model, meaning around the custom vertices, and not like a cube collider. So and once I import like models in the scripting area, you'll see how that really comes into place. Anyways, let's talk about the next thing on the list after we covered rigid bodies and colliders, which are pretty easy and basic. Let's talk about the interactive cloth, right? Let's create a new object and cloth, right? So now notice it comes with an interactive cloth and a cloth renderer. Cloth renderer basically does just what it says it does, right? So it just renders the cloth, so we don't even need to play with that around. But the cloth is a really cool thing. It's actually a plane that it acts like a cloth, basically. So if I just play it here, you won't see anything, right? Because it acts like a cloth. It does what a cloth does. But if I put a cube down here, like right under the cloth. Let me just position it. They're like right there. Let me even make it a bit bigger. Alright, and I put it right under the cloth, and I play. Watch how the cloth just kind of goes around it. Whoa, why did it not fall down? Alright, see? The cloth kind of went around the cube. Now this is not the highest quality cloth. You can make a way higher quality cloth, and the quality of the cloth is measured by how many vertices it has. See every meeting point here? It's called a vertice, and on each meeting point it can break as if as a cloth would. And you can mess with all that right here in the interactive cloth. You can have a stretching stiffness, have a thickness of the cloth. You can have use gravity. It has like a rigid body component already in the interactive cloth, so you don't need to add a rigid body to it. So yeah, it also has a friction, which all these variables are pretty much self-explanatory. But it also has that density, which is kind of like adding more vertices, but not actually adding vertices. See, if I give it higher density, it will break on more places, therefore making it like more real. Let me just give it like 20. Oh, you can practically see what's happening here. Anyway, just set that to 1. Pressure. Pressure is just how much it affects the gravity. It's how much it falls down, and how much weight it has on the object. Collision response is for coating with the cloth, so what message it will send when it's collided with what. And then there's the tear factor, and this is like how often will it tear and how much tears will it have. Not how much tears will it have, but how often will it get them. How tough is this cloth. So I'll show you how you can tear the cloth in a moment. But then there's this last thing here called attach colliders. Now, a special thing about the cloth in Unity is that you can attach it to an object, to like a static object or a rigid body, just by having a collider on it. So each object that has a collider on it, you can attach it to this cloth, and the cloth will hang from it. So let me demonstrate. Right, I'll change the size of it to 1. Then I'll attach this cube right here, and I'll check tearable. I don't know how to pronounce it really, but that just means it can be torn. And I'll drag the game window down here because I want to mess with it in game to show you kind of. And then let's play. So see, now the cloth is hanging from the cube. Even if I move it up, it picks the cloth up, and it's really nice cloth. And now if I mess with the cloth a little bit, you see it will tear off. Just like you see right here, and you can't pick it up like normally. But also you can have multiple attachments. So if you're kind of making like a shirt or something, you can have multiple places to attach it by just increasing the size of the array to like say 3, right? And then I can even take a different object, as long as it has a collider. Even you can even take a mesh, like a real model that's not in basic shape from Unity. You can do the same thing with it. Let me just attach the sphere on here. Element 2. Put that as sphere. Element. And this element, let's just make another sphere. Put it like right here in the middle. And hook it up. Right, it's that sphere, right? So, I hate it. You always gotta scroll before you put them. And you can see the simulation right here. If you move each one of them, it will affect the cloth, and it will tear off. If you do it, if it is opposing to it, it will tear if you yank it off. So that's a really cool feature of Unity. You can make some really realistic environments in that, but let's not get too caught up on the cloth for now. Let's just move on to the next section before we run out of time. Alright, so now after we covered the cloth, I will also cover how to do scripting with the cloth. but you know all that when I get into the scripting section of Unity. So now the last thing I want to show you is not the ragdoll, excuse me. Last thing I want to show you is the hinge joints, right? So the joint objects of Unity. And alright, so say you want to make like a chain, you know, like a castle has a chain that holds its gate. Well, that's actually really easy with Unity and don't even need scripting for it. So let's say we want to make like a chain with a, well, you know, just a basic chain that's attached to like a cube or something. So let's first of all create our objects, right? Excuse me. Create a cube, drag it a bit up, size it up like 5. Alright. And then always, to all your physics object, you always need a rigid body because that's what really links it to the physics engine. Makes it a physics object, not just any object. And now good. Now once you got that on there, attach another component, and that's fixed joint. What fixed joint does, basically attaches another rigid body to your rigid body, and you know, with a stable attachment, not with like a loosey goosey whatever attachment that flaps around. It's like stable and stays there. All right. So now let's make a capsule. Oh wait, excuse me. Let's make a capsule. There we go. And you know what? This cube is a bit too big. I think I'm gonna scale it down to 2. All right. Now this capsule is going to be our first link to the chain. So we're going to attach it like as a solid attachment, meaning using the fixed joint. We're going to attach it as a solid attachment to the capsule. Oh wait, I forgot to put a rigid body on there. So it won't work unless you have a rigid body on that. So you can't attach just any object, you can only attach rigid bodies. So now I can attach my capsule. And if I play it, see, it links. Alright. Now next we want like we do want like a loose joint, you know, just like you have in chains, that they're not only tied at the tips. So let's make another capsule, but to the previous capsule we'll now add a component called hinge joint, right? And by the way, if you want to know what spring joint is, it's basically like a spring. Well, yeah, duh, but I mean, if you like attach an object like this to this with a spring joint and say you rotate it, then it will just snap back into place like that, right? So it will act basically like a spring. So I don't think I should cover that since it's pretty obvious, and you also have that spring option in the hinge joint, right? So now once you get the hinge joint on it, connect this capsule right here, and then it will connect like a chain link between them, right? So now do the same, just duplicate, no wait, first attach another attach a hinge joint also to this because we're going to connect another one, and then duplicate it, and then select this, and then put this right here. So yeah, yeah, that's connected, right? And then do this however much times you want. Have that there. You know, you get the idea. And then you can just leave this at in the air if you just want it to hold in the air or something. I'm just gonna like disconnect, just make it a rigid body. Right, now let me pause for 1 sec. Alright, sorry for that. Now let's test our chain. Alright, let's click play. And there, it acts just like a chain. You know, if you held the chain up and you leave it, it will fall just like that. Notice it has weight and it tilts this one over. And to see this, you can really see here the difference between a fixed joint, which is just held tight, and a hinge joint, which is, you know, held loose. And that's the main difference between the two. That's like, I think hinge joint is the main joint you'll use in Unity if you want to use a joint. And that pretty much covers the physics in Unity. Well, the physics objects you have in Unity. I might do a ragdoll in the next tutorial. I might not. We'll see. Anyway, that's it. Bye bye.